his type. He doesn't like bears, apparently.
Oh, teeth of their own, right?
Yeah, APOC likes me. That's all.
That's all that matters.
Yalla, as the signal flare gets sent up here and we come to life at twitch.tv/conspiracy horsemen. Extra special 3-man booth for your Friday Ultra Kayfabe Declassified Locker Room Edition. And it's Dr. Doom, prepare for the boom, bam. Oh, man, yeah, I scream like Tarzan. We'll be flossing and stossing. Our style is awesome. We're causing more family feuds than Richard Dawson, infidels. And we're going to split up your family because they're tired to hear about wrestling, tired of watching wrestling, but we're going to keep talking wrestling here on your Friday Locker Room. Yalla. Oh, man. Excited. It's not just the man, it's the mama, man beast. Yeah. Joining the Friday Locker Room Veteran Edition with Big Stevie Cool. Welcome, guys. Man beast, how are you, buddy?
I'm doing all right. This might be a very interesting episode in that during the course of this, hopefully I don't have to depart this booth, but we are in the midst of getting a foster dog. Ooh. And so that is going to be an interesting day. So as an aside, I will say there is no better time right now if anyone's thinking about fostering than to foster a dog right now. So definitely consider it if you can. But that's what's going on in my life right now.
You just got over with Stevie because there's no bigger animal. You know, and I got the dogs award. You know, when we first got them, you saw them from their phases of pups 13 years ago, as old as this shirt. But there's no better animal lover brother than Big Stevie Cool, man. Cats, dogs, whatever it is. So
yeah, I'm going to cover the cat version of that. First of all, man, it's very nice to meet you again after all these years when, I was going to say Disco Inferno, but Inferno Kid, anybody with Inferno tends to try to bully people, but he tried to bully you in OVW, and I don't remember the story, but I probably do remember cutting a promo on Danny afterwards. I cover the cat adoptions here. So yes, just like the dog stuff. Actually, if you want to adopt a dog and a cat, they actually get along a lot better than you think. And if it's a puppy and a kitten, just on a side note, if you follow Hanson from the Viking Raiders on Instagram, he has a black cat and a puppy, and it's called, I think it's on the Boventude. Boventude is the name of the one of the cats, and nice. They play together and do all this stuff. So it's probably a good infomercial, as opposed to the SPCA ones we can't fast forward through on Sling, where they make you watch every second of these tortured animals. That adopt one. Don't foster it. Go all the way and adopt.
What kind of dog is it? Do you know?
It's going to be another Jack Russell mix, which we already have a Jack Russell mix, so that'll be interesting. So 2 dogs and 3 cats we will now have in our penthouse, as I like to call it.
Dogs are going to love each other. I think the cats are going to be like, God damn it, hide, run and hide, everybody, duck and cover. Yeah. Man, that's good, dude. I'm surprised I didn't get the stooge on that through the wife's pipeline, that they didn't have that all planned out. There was a trap where they were going to draw you in. But
this might be a bad time to tell you, but she's on her way right now, so get ready.
Okay, man. Well, if you got to hop off, I totally get it. You can hop in.
But no. I mean your wife.
Oh,
yeah.
She's on her way. That's it.
Right now with the foster dog.
Oh,
I meant to tell you.
You can have one, man. There, that's fine. I'm tired. A lot of shit to clean up after all the snow melted. That's the worst part. But we're gonna clean up all the shit from our industry today because there's plenty of headlines and another crazy week. But man, this shit just makes me happy. I get to be on later with Susio, but to have Stevie Richards and the Man Beast on, and then actually tonight later, I'll probably go live on Twitch with it. I'm going to get with your tag team partner, our longtime writing partner, a guy who needs to be recognized because he's done so much for the wrestling business, but he's been in the Louisville, bubble. But your tag partner, Adam Revolver, we call him Power, but I'm looking forward to having him on Hamin because he's not really a digital presence, and he's a very unique mind in his delivery, and I'm excited to see what we're going to get after reconnecting for a long time, man.
That's assuming you can get his technology to work. Let's keep in mind how long it takes him to get with technology and how to use it. So hopefully, as long as the technology works out, that will be an interesting conversation. Just because you're right, his brain works very oddly, but very interesting. And I'll be curious to hear his take on some
I feel like AIs will think he's an AI, they think he's one of his own or something like that. His brain is very meticulous and algorithmic. It's good, man. Stevie, what else going on with you this morning, dude?
I had a big morning. Speaking of, it's a trap. I tested out the Force USA trap bar, and live on camera as I was recording the review, I wasn't quite sure how I felt when I woke up. I do fitness reviews, by the way, the Man Beast and other stuff on my YouTube channel. I know I need to stay in my lane, as Sal tells me all the time, but I just can't help myself. So I just kept going with the, much like the bench press and then last week's deadlift. I haven't lifted heavy in a while. And I ended up getting the exact number. I don't want to cheat myself nor give myself too much credit. 308.52 pounds for a single. So I got that on camera at the end. So pretty impressed with that and want to keep going, get very motivated. You know, it's good. It's a good morning. I said I was ready to accomplish more stuff. So
I want to
getting better now that we can do this.
I want to take myself out of the equation here in the future and definitely see you guys inspire each other and pair each other up, because you're both, again, independent businessmen. Man Beast is also a doctor and physical therapist. I don't want to short your title or anything like that, but, has put his time in absolutely. So just forget about the wrestling knowledge alone, the personal training and health, the knowledge we have right here now, rehabilitation, this is where our community is going to see real value and real information from these guys. If you subscribe to what they're doing, follow their channels, and hopefully they can get together and do a couple side projects on their own, because I know I'm not at the level either of them are to speak on it.
I'm not at the level. I'm a backyarder compared to him. So I'm very much an enthusiast and that's where I do. And not to cut you off, that's where I do know that I don't try to be an expert at a lot of things, but I do have a lot of experience with injuries and having to modify. And also I love working with beginners and people that have never done it, because I can break that down. So I don't, the niches of people on Instagram and social media and other people trying to always be experts. I think that's what hopefully endears my brand to a lot of people, because I don't pretend to be those things. And also in this video, I leave mistakes in there. I leave other things and doubts and I tried to psych myself up for the lift and wasn't sure if I can. I don't try to pretend that everything I do is easy and that, you know what I'm saying, man, Beast. I don't try to put myself out of my pay grade right now with people.
I've seen your stuff, Stevie, and I have to say, I think you're extremely knowledgeable, but you're right. I very much, even though I have a doctorate, I never consider myself the be all end all expert by any means. Cause I think, it's all about experience and what you work in. And so for one, I've seen your work with the resistance bands, and I can't tell you as a physical therapist professional how awesome I think that is, because I'm a big advocate for using them. I think it's a lot easier on the joints. I like how the resistance increases as you move through a range of motion, and I think it's a very underutilized workout tool. So I think you're doing great stuff, man, and I definitely offer kudos for putting that stuff out there, because it's important. And if you can motivate even just one more individual, a week to keep, working on themselves and trying to get better, then you're doing a great thing. So as a healthcare professional, I appreciate the work you're doing, man.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. You're make me cry. Stop.
I was excited. I saw a former Chicago friend of mine and WrestleZone talent, and I'm going to reach out to him too, man. But I saw Jamie Campbell join the Stevie Richards fitness group maybe a couple weeks back. I'm only stooging him off, but I'm glad he's doing it. He had a good year out on the road, and definitely like to have Jamie on too, man, just to reconnect. Super, super funny guy, and obviously loves wrestling. And if you were on with us since the WrestleZone days, it's a personality you know very well. So Triple D in the chat with the bits this morning. Appreciate you, Briz, over there at Dippin' Donuts, up early, making sure the CNY community's fueled and ready to go for the essential workers. The new shipment of Zordos olive oil has come in from Greece, so we're moving that. ZordosOliveOil.com, ultra premium. I grabbed the King a couple bottles the other day. My dad, not King B. I would have to trade those for some Cena Our Life DVDs. And then, man, everything's going down. Everything's in motion over there. So appreciate you, man, working hard. And also tune in here, twitch.tv/Conspiracy Horseman. I know he's going to do something with Susio too, where they're going to kind of co-host a show together. So he's working hard. He did the seminar because he's commentating at Immortal. So he's trying to increase his chops, and that's what is great about all of this, man. Like, who knows what's going to spin out with you guys together now that the pebble in the pond's been dropped, I'm excited for those opportunities, and I love that kind of stuff I know down the road is just going to reap dividends for everybody, man, for the listeners and for the host and people putting their information out there who I want to be heard, and you will be heard because I just paid for another year of Podbean. So yeah, a lot. But we actually, Vickery's working on something for a press release, but a Stooge here, year 3. hackerhamin.podbean.com. So, I mean, it's pretty impressive as we go into year 3 here. When we first started, that 125 to 300 downloads, and you're like, yeah. And now we're doing 3,500 a day, releasing multiple shows, rebranding, expanding the roster, partner with Russo brand now, Stevie Ray from Harlem Heat, WCW, Goldilocks, to be able to do the stuff with Shane Douglas, just incredible. Be able to listen to disco and interact on some level. All that stuff that's going on, man. We're just so fortunate. We're so blessed, as some of my friends would say, to be able to have these opportunities to create for you, especially in a time where there's not a lot of creative going on in the world, so you're listening to our voices, spending your time during lockdown, and we appreciate it. That sub with the bitch, not Jargo, back in the chat, man. Hope you're doing well. Fudge 420, Haze Man, Maple Leaf Stoner, and not a lizard. So I don't know what you are. You're not a lizard, that's for sure. All in the chat room this morning here. Last night was a good time, Conspiracy Horsemen, talking about the Olympic opening ceremonies and really breaking it down and, going through some false flag stuff and keeping up with the COVID-19 that's affecting us all. Stevie, what'd you think about last night, man?
It was very strong. I think we had to unpack it some more because we hadn't really watched it in depth, and we definitely didn't watch it live 8 years ago. Mm-hmm. And now we have to go down the rabbit hole and also drag Vince Russo down that rabbit hole as we message him overnight. To all the other Olympics, like everyone, we're talking about even dating back to the famous one, which I believe that was Jesse Owens and Hitler back then in the black and white days, mm-hmm. and things like that. I said black and white. I didn't mean it like that. I mean,
right.
no.
He wasn't talking about segregation. He was talking about on TV. Yeah.
So, how many of these Olympics have had this kind of symbolism? I mean, this is recent when we were all awake after 9/11.
Sure.
And we still didn't catch it. So I asked the question like once again 80s. For anybody out there that you don't have to go down the rabbit hole. You don't have to look at the symbolism. You don't have to look at how it can, the analogy to COVID-19 or any of the other things that might be hidden in that opening ceremony. My one question is, what does this have to do with athletics? What does it have to do with an athletic competition? How is this an athletic pre-show?
Yeah.
That's my question.
In no way was it. And, I don't remember in the 80s, the Mary Lou Retton and all that. I remember her coming out in the jacket, and it was like about the torch and the past, which is still Luciferianism. When you light a giant torch, that's a Lucifer. It's the same as Lady Gaga in the beginning as she ascends from above or descends into hell and lands on a big torch, a Lucifer. People don't realize what they're actually seeing and what they're being indoctrinated to, plus The Simpsons that pretty much spelled it out exactly how it went down. Man, because I don't know if you listened last night or you know about the Olympic 2012 ceremony, but it pretty much is a giant Cirque du Soleil from the Satanists spelling out the COVID virus and how they're going to unleash it. And some conspiracy theorists have, conspiracy researchers have butt up a lot of news footage from this past week and month that parallels right along with this big Cirque du Soleil thing that they put out there and explains it all, man. It was pretty intense.
So it was talking about that. Are you assuming that this is the work of like the Freemasons or?
Yes.
Okay.
So this is your Illuminati. I mean, you're talking about the Olympic Committee in the UK, massive money, massive European Union push. In the backgrounds, like in the shots, there's multiple pyramids with the all-seeing eye. There's secret 5G towers. There's a huge what do you call it, Grim Reaper that comes out, and it's all these beds, like hundreds of beds with little kids on them, like, and then these nurses and doctors doing this big dance around, and then they cut to all the doctors and nurses now that you see on TikTok that are during this, and it shows the unleashing of the COVID virus as these like kind of Harry Potter specter things that chase the kids or whatever, you know, and it's supposed to symbolize that they're going to come take your kids and take them right out of their beds and all that shit, man, at the end of the day. And this is 2012. And there's a lot of other symbology and geometry in there that you can go back and watch. It's about a 6-minute video, easy to find on YouTube. So it is all this, everything from the gay mafia to the Illuminati to the Freemasons to the Bilderbergs to Bohemian Grovis to Abramovich to Hollywood. That's to the elite of the families that have ruled together in Europe. They're all in on it right there. There was nothing of like, he's running the 40-yard dash, and there's Usain Bolt, the world's fastest man.
It wasn't like jock jams, the jock jams like music, to get you all pumped up and ready to go.
No, dude, it's some straight up pageantry, and to like expose early on and condition people 8 years ago, when you just look at it and you think of like, ooh, this reminds me of Harry Potter, and look at, there's the spookers, and here they come, and like, but really when you see it now in real time, and somebody's done the research and butts up everything and shows the symbolism of it all and overlay and stops and like, here's what to look at. It's them telling the tale of the plan they had 8 years ago, and now they're just fucking pushing it forward, dude. It's already in people's psyche.
Let me ask then, why do you think they took the time to make that symbolism so overt then?
That's what they want to do. They want to do it in front of your face without you knowing it. They even show like little kids asleep and people going like this. Like, some people say this is Don't Tell the Secret, but to me, the way that came off was, we're the sleeping children. They know what's going on. Don't wake them up to what we really know, dude. And I'm talking, this isn't just like a stage. Like, this is the Olympic Stadium, and they've got 500 beds. They've got 300 people playing dancing nurses, 500, 600 kids. Like, the specters are another 60. Like, this is massive, massive coordination and vision, and the shots to do the overhead that looks like the COVID virus forming in the all-seeing eye, which is very similar to what we saw in the ceremony after 9/11 at Ground Zero, as everybody filters in and the all-seeing eye takes place at Ground Zero. So this is the same Illuminati sex, death cult, blackmail, deep state that's been going on, man. And now they're just, this type of stuff, as it gets exposed in 2020, will be easier to show to people who aren't on the same page as the conspiracy horsemen, to hopefully wake a couple more percentage of this population up, man. Is hardcore.
I think too is that this whole thing too, in a way it doesn't matter, you know, and I don't say it doesn't matter just in scope, but they're going to squeeze us this year. They're going to squeeze everybody. You said it before, only some people got the $1,200 stimulus check, which even $1,200 in today's age of consumerism, especially here in the backyard Hollywood of Atlanta, Georgia. That's why I like to call it Man Beast. There's backyard Hollywood's back, because everybody's spending like they're some kind of fucking star. We've seen it on the independent wrestling things. I saw it when I was with the big stars of the independents when I was coming up, just trying to sit there, get a grain of knowledge from anybody coming through from any of the major companies, while they were sitting there making 100 but spending 500 on Coke and beer because they were big stars who won their match. The attitude is the same of consumerism. You know, I see it on House Hunters. I see it on this, and not to go off on a tangent, but that's what needs to change, is the culture of the slave, the sheep, the citizens of the world, to try to grow and be more self-sufficient. That's what we're trying to do. We're not quite there, but also Lanny Poffo says it, just to get a wrestling reference, since this is the locker room. If your bills are less than your passive income, guess what you can do? Retire. That should be the goal. It's as simple as that. Try to get your bills as low as possible, your monthly nut, whatever it is, and whatever your passive income or the stable income you can get is more than that. you're good.
You're good.
And you're going to keep making positive progress. But everybody with the stay-at-home astronaut and the I don't know, the serial eater, professional serial eater with the $3 million budget on House Hunters.
Yeah.
These are becoming real people. So that's my little rant. Like, we can control that. But as long as we voluntarily make ourselves enslavable with our habits and our living beyond our means, they got us right where they chip me, bro. That's another T-shirt right there.
Well, they already got, I mean, so many ways, from a mortgage to a lease to a student loan.
Mortgage is death.
Yeah.
Mortgage means death.
Yeah.
You are in debt till you die.
More spellcraft. No, it is.
And honestly, it's a situation where, as long as a society we're having to trade time for money in order to sustain our life, we're all, as a society, it's going to generally always be enslaved to the master that is money.
Yeah,
in my opinion.
Can't disagree with that. But now they're going to come out with a whole possible new universal money. They're talking through the UN that is, you want to talk about, and we will get a new world order. Yes, we will complete it. Like George Bush. Yeah, 1991, dude. Same death cult. Same people who are fucking putting this shit together. The presidents will change, the players, this illusion of who's in fucking power, but the reality is those who wanted shit from the really 1940s, that Nazi time, they're still pushing their agenda through their kids, nepotism and all that shit, man. And that's what we're trying to put out.
We have a thing where we try to avoid the press releases as long as possible. So we're not just trying to make the show long. We just don't ever want to talk about wrestling, or we want to give people the actual perspective of this is the shit that really matters. Now we're going to read the stupid wrestling stuff. Do you guys think, both of you, because I really do believe that Operation Paperclip and the fact that they put in the Winter Soldier movie, we had our Hail Hydra moment. That was pretty much Fourth Reich. From that time on, when they came over, it was that silent takeover of the government right from there.
I mean, NASA is almost pretty close to Nazi, and you're kind of there. You know what I mean? And that's what we wanted from them, was their alien contact, their space and whatnot, and then the Thule Society and the Vril Society and what they were working on. A lot of those people who were in those sex and demonic cults in Germany in the Third Reich were also the rockets and engineer people as well. And whether they were making contact with aliens, and that's what made them drive that mythical side a bit more, that's who we brought over in droves. And now they're integrated into society in a secret way. And now it's all coming home to roost once again, much like Vince's indiscretions have kicked his ass up and down the football field.
Do you think that they walked in and they said, "Oh, Shug, you're not the over-scientist, you're the under-scientist. You need to go down to where the under-scientists are"?
That's good.
It's my Dixie Carter joke. It's a good story.
Did you ever work with Dixie, Man Beast?
I did not. No, I did write a story that I sent, but I don't know if she ever actually read it, of Revolver and myself. It was, we were the deranged rednecks in OVW, of being her kin that she tried to hide under the table. But
ooh, that's good.
It never came to surface.
I like that. Cousin Dixie's, yeah, damn.
Might have hit too close to home.
Yeah, right. Probably so.
She been liking any more posts lately?
Oh, yeah, every day, dude. Really? Every day. Like, I'm getting shit from like back in 2014 or whatever. Getting liked now.
Then you wake up, you're like liked 2 hours ago. Is it 3 a.m? She's up fucking liking posts. Scarlett Bordeaux confirmed for WWE NXT mystery storyline. It's confirmed, guys. The mystery woman with Carrie and Killer Cross on NXT is his real-life girlfriend, Scarlett Bordeaux. A new video package on the two aired during tonight's NXT episode on USA Opening. The warning from Scarlett to the brand. It features shots of last week's brutal attack on Tommaso Ciampa. Byron Saxon confirmed on commentary after the video that the woman carrying is named Scarlett. He did not use her last name. I mean, she's super hot. There's it's all right to tie him, I guess, but dude, so much money in both of them separately. I think it's way narrow to put them together just coming off there if they want to and they're comfortable. They're both stars in their own right, and this is a bad way to put them together on a hit. On Ciampa, who's one of the most over babies, absolutely, I like the crosses on it, but to have her with it, as sexy as she is, doesn't need to be done. I want to get your opinion, Man Beast, on Tommaso Ciampa and the bumps he's taken as we came out. We've seen his entire evolution, you know what I mean? And very, very worried. I'm very, very worried because I went and saw Serena in Buffalo when she was directing NXT, and I promoted him. I love to see him, and we had a good time talking. He was happy to see me, but I was like, bro, I don't want to see you do any more of that shit. He's like, I know. I was just had to get my WrestleMania moment, and da. And I was like, oh, well, okay. I just want to see you be able to walk at your daughter's fucking graduation and shit. And wasn't 2 weeks after that, he's taking that fucking bump off the top of the cage from Adam Cole through the fucking table, and then what was the one? There was another one after that, a fucking silly, crazy one where he gets his neck fucking jacked right on the edge of the announce desk. That was like a month ago. I almost can't watch his shit because guys aren't telling him no. It's to protect him against himself from hurting himself. And they're working right on his neck, man. It's fucking cringe for me to watch a match with him in it now, dude.
Well, obviously, as a healthcare professional, first thing is, especially when it comes to the spine in general, you don't ever want to fuck with it. So, given his history, I'm worried for him as well. And I don't know if it comes down to, I know from my time at OVW working with him, he was always obsessed with, thinking of, what he can do in, I remember just hanging out with him. He would just want to chain wrestle, and he just always think about, wrestling. And sometimes you just get in that obsessive mindset. And I don't know if it's just him constantly trying to top himself or to create these moments. But you're right. I don't know, you would think after having a neck surgery that would, be the wake up call. Like, okay, I need to really, get my shit together so I can walk when I'm an old man. So yeah, I agree with you. I hope that, it doesn't come to, anything worse happening to him before he comes to that realization that he needs to, in my opinion, granted, you do what you want, it's everyone's own body, do what they will with it. But I would hate to see, any kind of permanent harm, happen to him because of the risk that he's taking in the ring, because he's too good of an athlete. He's too good of a guy, honestly, from time knowing him. Yep. We don't have enough good people in wrestling anyway. So I would hate to see something happen to, especially one of the good people that we have in wrestling.
Stevie, you're one of the good ones, and nobody knows more about neck pain than you do, and neck injuries from the ring, taking them and recovering from them. I just imagine if I went through what you've been through and I'm cringed because I know the guy and I want the best for him, or we all do, but to actually have had the surgeries, every time I see that, holy shit, my neck would be hurting with residual effects just watching it. How are you?
Oh, I feel great now. I'm really one of the lucky ones because my injury, I don't know how old Ciampa is. I have to assume he's in his early 30s, if not even a little bit older.
I think he's 34.
Okay, my injuries came in my early 20s. I wasn't really a workout person or anything like that back then, so I kind of got lucky getting it early on and was able to teach myself. Basically, it's physical therapy from now on. I will never miss another day of working out, and that's the way it was treated. He's already that type of guy. He's in great shape, so I'll break it down. First of all, internally, your spine is only going to take so many bumps, even if they're regular bumps. Regular bumps hurt. There's people that have been paralyzed from taking shoulder blocks and taking a regular bump on a tackle drop down hip toss. So every element of a bump is in the center of the ring is still dangerous. These guys and girls bumping on the edge of the aprons, taking suplexes, taking other things from the apron to the floor, hitting the corner of the announce table, trying to make it look cool and get a pop. The Ciampa's a unique case because not only does he have a family, not only is he going to have to pay that price down the road no matter what, but also because he's shredded and jacked. If his body starts to deteriorate and he cannot work out and he has a worse look, it's going to hurt his brand. He has a future to be a major like fitness influencer if he chose to do so. He has somebody that he be connected to men's health and other things. I see a future for him in that because he just has that he's not a huge guy, but he's a guy that looks completely fit.
Mm-hmm.
So he's discounting the future money outside of wrestling that he could earn more with more stability and be home with his wife and his kid, or maybe kids by then, for this whole thing where you're reminding me of these bumps. And Man Beast, I don't know if you agree or not, because you probably did see them. I didn't even remember he took the bumps, and I get paid to review wrestling. Can you imagine the casual fan or the fan that says, okay, great, folds their arms and goes, now give me a bigger bump. It's very, very like, dance for me, Ciampa. Dude, you control these people. Don't let them get inside your head to feel like you keep having to raise the bar and kill yourself for them. You're way too over, way too charismatic, got a great gimmick, and also you know how to work. So stop.
100%. And Al Snow, he always says, when it comes to fans watching, really, people don't know what wrestling feels like. People don't know what it feels like to take a suplex or a slam. So to take those nasty bumps on the side of the apron, it's, there's other things you can do to get the reaction you're looking for, instead of taking those kind of bumps. Other than, I think he said like an eye poke and a kick to the balls, maybe a back rake, but no one knows what it feels like to get your neck slammed on the side of a ring. So why take that risk when it's not going to get, like you said, you didn't even remember the spot happening afterwards. And just like that, I'm sure many fans, like, oh, and then ADD moves on to the next thing. So there's no point to it, especially since you can get the reaction in the business that you're trying to get accomplished done without doing those kind of things.
You can copy paste this whole same conversation on Daniel Bryan too. I mean, him and Cesaro killing each other for no fucking. And this is a guy who's had multiple concussions, multiple neck injuries, and nobody's looking out for him, dude.
Well, let's just break that down real quick, because what I do too, because of my neck injuries, and whenever I did wrestle, whenever I take, because everybody understands what it's like to fall or see somebody fall on the concrete or a curb and hit their head. It's a nauseating feeling to think about. So when you even take a shoulder block or a power bomb or anything, the first thing I do is grab the back of my head and my neck and start to do that. People understand that. And you don't need to take a huge bump to do that. I see a lot of people taking power. What didn't you say MVP took like a power bomb and had to get up, or DDT and had to get up?
He fucking took a DDT or something, get him like bang, and he hits the ground and sells up into a fucking gorilla press. I'm like, well, how does that make sense? That's not even
as devastating.
Yeah.
It doesn't knock you out.
No.
Yeah.
I was just like,
imagine this. What if next week someone took a shoulder block, they stood up and then fell down holding their neck? You'd be like, oh shit, they must have really gotten hurt without even having to take a scary bump.
No, you're right.
All right. And we keep piling on, but I want Ciampa to know, like this kinds of stuff. He'll do all these crazy things. And then Rob Van Dam, who's probably still one of the most indestructible guys that you could ever be in the ring with, broke his femur or tibia, broke his leg doing a sliding drop kick on somebody. After all he's done, he just did a move he did 2 million times back in ECW and broke his leg just sliding and doing a sliding drop kick to the outside. He could have never wrestled again if it was the wrong break in his leg.
That's because marijuana weakens bones. Oh no!
You sound like Mickey from Rocket.
Weed weakens your bones. Cody Rhodes on when AEW's video game will be released. Holy shit! AEW executive vice president Cody Rhodes recently took fan questions from Bleacher Report. Was asked about one of the hottest topics from AEW fans on social media when the first ever AEW video game be coming out. Rhodes responded with what he calls an honest update and admitted it will take time. He said AEW wants to put out a very good video game and asked fans to be patient so the company can deliver. He says, quote, I'll give an honest update. The AEW video game was something all fans know about as we begin the process and we begin to move forward. If we're to make a very good game, which is our intention, it's going to take time. Game development is arduous. It's very creative space, and we want to do it right. We'll keep people updated, and it won't come as a surprise. We want them to take the journey with us, be extra patient so we can deliver. yeah, it does take a long time, and you know, to get it right, absolutely, especially in the failure of wrestling video games lately. But point of order, is it because some people aren't going to be in the game because now there's 30 new releases and you're in the other game, Shug. You're in the expansion pack, Shug. We need to make room on the hard drive for these characters over here, Shug. So, like, is that really, you know, and Cody's smart enough to give that answer to feed to their super marks. And you can pawn it off on gameplay and game development time and engines when they're like, no, this engine is the one you should have already. And you can put that in there right away. Ask Stevie. He knows all about the game engines and which one's the best. Right? Like, they're going to want it because that's their whole demographic. But it could be a variety of different reasons when it comes to who's going to sell more games. You know, the best friends or, you know, the major brothers, who knows?
When do we get to the point where we've talked about it from time to time? When do we get to the point of it stops becoming like the friend click type of business model and it starts really becoming some tough talk of saying you're not quite over for the video game, like for real, not the Dixie Carter thing. Yeah. You are you think you're over, you're not over type thing.
Yeah, in about 90 days. I'd say probably about 115 days. Because that'll happen, and then people will start ring-a-ding-dinging, and then word will spread, and it'll take about 2 weeks of whispers, and then it'll start coming down. Right? They just have to. Like, I kind of talked about this on the Impact Attack yesterday. If you're going to bring back EC3, Drake Maverick, Eric Young, who else from there was Impact that can go over there? Damn it, I had like 3 or 4 others. But like high level, like you're not going to be able to put the argument over that, you know, as good as they've done for him, that Ace Austin and those guys are going to be able to have the TV time, or a Willie Mack when it comes to EC3 and Rockstar Spud. They're going to trade up, man. That's just how the booking goes, man, on who's going to draw eyes to your product. And that means they're going to get kicked down the ladder. It's not anything more than the right business in wrestling, but it's going to happen across the boards from all this.
Which I will say to an extent, I am sad to see, because I think some of those guys that Impact has really stepped up to the plate and done a good job with what they've been doing, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. But you know, but that's the state of wrestling. You know, it's how it is.
Yeah. And speaking of Spud, this past week has been hard for many WC superstars and backstage personnel after it was announced all the layoffs. On this week's episode of The Bump, Drake Maverick sat down for the first time since his release to discuss how he's been doing. There was so much Maverick wanted to get off his chest, but the biggest takeaway from it was how he's determined to win the NXT Cruiserweight Tournament and Championship so he can keep his job. So we all talked about this on different shows, and Stevie put out a heartfelt video to the WWE released. And Man Beast, we talked about it on the Monday Locker Room, knowing you know, this guy's skill set and what he wants to do. And when he did his tearful apology, he was still working it to build empathy, because he's a smart worker, to make people say, so if he does get his job back based on it, he's one of the smartest rip workers there are in there to work the office, to keep him on and do good business on his way out instead of them burying him. Maybe he will stay WWE. His wife is also supposedly opening a members only Patreon, you know, like scary in real times for people who might not have been prepared and are actually scrambling to be like, please keep me, please keep me. I don't know, dude. I hope it's not that, but all signs kind of point towards that. And to have him on the bump after he's fired because he's doing that, that's good little business. Like, that's interesting. We also saw that Sarah Logan, after being fired, was almost brought back to be on Raw again the next week, but they broke her arm the week fucking before with Shayna Baszler. So what's going on over there that they're running shit like an indie show now with, hey, who's in town? Oh, we fired her, but we need her. We'll get somebody else to squash out, and they do it that way. India Hartwell, I believe, was the girl who took that spot. Maybe, I don't know. Stevie, go ahead.
Well, they still definitely have the person employed to give these people rib names when they do enhancement matches. And just hearing Vince Russo like mess their names up, which actually sound better than the actual names on the show. Do you think this is also, we try to say that they're dumb or they don't know what they're doing or they're just all over the place? Do you think they just want to put people back on nightlies? Because we talked about AEW, like in the beginning, everybody's getting 135 grand or more a year. It's going to be equal pay. And now we see at one point they were working like even upstate New York, they're working indies. So if you're a contracted AEW wrestler, how are you able, I think the veil's going to be taken off a lot of these companies. Like Impact's the only one paying people while the time is off right now. Everybody else seems to be acting like they care about the safety, but at the same time, them the breaks. Them's the rules.
Well, I mean, even on the 2CW, they're doing it like a 2CW look back. They've done 2 episodes, and Josh, the owner, was the guest on the first 2. They split it into 2. And people are like, would 2CW be able to reopen now that all this talent's back there? And Josh's like, yeah, of course we could open and kill it again. But you're talking about major startup. And to be, like all those AEW guys that we helped make might be trickling back down again, could be feeders. So you never know what's going to happen in the ripple effect of it all. But a lot of guys are going to get pushed off a lot of cards. Go ahead, Beast.
Well, I wanted to touch on the part about Spud cutting that promo with the emotion that he was feeling after getting released. The always I wanted to touch on that is because he did something that I thought was really good and something that I've actually harped on a lot of our younger guys at OVW about, because a lot of our crew, and I think other wrestlers may have this issue in general, is they try to think of the right words to say or the right promo they want to cut, and a lot of times they come across as wooden. But when you have that raw emotion and you can channel that into something, I know some may have harped on that he shouldn't have done it, but I thought, when you have raw emotion, that's the time to cut a promo and direct it in a way that is getting a piece of business over that you want to get over. Like, for instance, if you're pissed off at your wife about something, then that's a good time to get on the camera and cut a promo on someone that you have business with, because you're going to get that raw emotion that you a lot of times can't channel unless you're just, a seasoned worker or an actor or something like that. I know that's not what we're talking about as far as that goes, but I did want to touch on that because I thought that was a good opportunity. And whether or not it leads to anything, who knows? It seems like at least they're doing a little bit with it, so we'll see what happens. But I think anytime you have that raw emotion, that is a great time to try to get some business over, whatever it might be. And I commend him for at least trying to make that work.
So was he really fired, or was it an angle?
Oh, no, he's let go.
Know. That's where I don't know. I think he really did get released. I just think he used that as an opportunity to cut a promo. And I think perhaps because I don't know, but I'm thinking perhaps because he did that, they're seeing that he has some sympathy and they might be able to do something with it. I don't know.
And they told him when he got fired that he could do those last 3 dates. So that was really the real, of that he was going to so that he's not going over. But now the fact that the only thing I know about that tournament or give a shit about is that Spud's in it and it's his last 3 dates. So on the 3rd one, you better put him over. And Spud's a smart enough worker to fucking apply that silent heat by dropping the pebble in the pond that they say maybe we should, because he did this biz and that's a good look for us to get out of this, and it cost us next to nothing for as a PR wise. He knows all that shit. So bravo to him. On the shoe on the other foot there though, you came up with him even longer than I did. EC3. We've seen this. I remember when he broke his leg, right? And then he had to sit.
ACL.
Or ACL, yeah. And we've seen him since the inception, everything that he's done, but he goes silent. A guy they did nothing with since they bought him, and I don't know, dude. It doesn't to me, sitting quiet and being like, I'm not doing anybody's fucking podcast. We'll see where I end up. There's strategy to that, but I think he's a better performer who should be going into business for himself in a smart MJF way. If it was me and him, and I don't know how tight him and MJF are, I would do an MJF promo and just have him walk in the background, look up, and fucking walk out, dude. You know what I mean? And then I would do something on Impact show in the background of somebody else's shit and just be showing up everywhere a little bit in the background of things.
True. And I think there's a lot of opportunity, but I think also you have to consider the mental state a lot of these guys are in right after getting fired. Emotions are running high. And
Sure.
I think, you have that secondary thought of, do you want to make an emotional decision or make a decision based on emotion rather than rational thought? So, I absolutely 100% agree. I think there's huge opportunity and these guys should be getting their names out there while the iron's hot and, they're still a nationally recognized name. That being said, there's also the aspect of, feeling like you're going to just jump into something real quick because you just feel emotionally you need to make something happen.
Mm-hmm.
I take that into consideration too. And I don't necessarily fault guys for not wanting to make an emotional decision, but I do agree if these guys are going to capitalize on getting their name continue to be out there, they need to do something within the, the relative near future. I'd say within the next 30 days or so, but I think it's to each their own in the way that they're processing and dealing with the situation.
Maybe not longer than 30 days because who knows when we're going to be back to business.
True.
Indie shows getting rebooked for September, Stevie. That's when.
Well, let's be real about this. Let's look at this list. Most of these people shouldn't be shocked that they got released. I wasn't shocked. I was just at the same as I was the early version JTG, kind of like just there.
Mm-hmm.
Mike
and Maria were the other ones I thought would probably go back to Impact.
Well, they wanted to be released. Didn't they want out of their contracts like 2 months earlier though?
And then they re-signed though, right?
Yeah, because they had a kid coming or they had the kid and they needed it. This is the kind of like the dichotomy of the whole thing. EC3, they didn't do anything with him from the very beginning. So whatever emotion he had, he should have been like, man, they've already fucked with me and I'm already all over the place. I can do stuff on my own. And then I tried to do it back from 2007 on with the podcast and the YouTube channel. And it took forever to really start to gain any traction. But at least I saw, man, my time here is limited. And if I'm here for a long time, I'm going to be miserable. So let me do something on the side to see, like Asuka's even doing it, even though she's getting pushed. She's trying to do side projects because maybe she knows, my God, this is like super racist what they're doing with me. I'll go along, I'll play along, but I'm going to do my own thing on the side and get over with that I think I have
Did you see her new one where she's doing little characters, making logos, and like she draws them and then on her tablet laptop goes into Illustrator and does it in Illustrator and does a little tutorial? I was like, fuck yeah, dude. Like, I don't know. Little things like that pump me up. I could see her having her own cartoon show in Japan after this. Like, all that kind of shit. Just, like, so forward thinking while having fun and not being a worker, just being real on that shit, man.
Now she's got heat with me. First, tried to steal the home gym idea. Now she's trying to do my tech stuff. But, yeah, I mean, but EC3 and the emotion should have already been at a height and a level before you got released. Yep. Zack Ryder should have been that way. Kurt Hawkins, especially being fired once, he got his school started. He got the promotion started. Should have been like, my second run, this has to all be about promoting whatever is going to be because they don't change. They haven't changed since I was there. They haven't changed since Russo was there, since Cornette was there, since anybody who's still alive before those eras. They're the same scumbags. They always are. Whatever you want to say, it's just business. Well, if you want to leave and go to AEW, now it's personal. Now they're going to fuck you and keep you there. They're not doing you any favors. So like when you go on there and with Spud, if it's a work, it's great. At first, you and I thought he was selling too much for them.
Yeah.
EC3 is definitely taking that Stockholm syndrome into these videos about, I don't want to do your this, that, and the other thing. Well, pretty soon you're going to be wanting to do cameos. Pretty soon you're going to want to do Patreon. Pretty soon you're going to want to do something to make money if there's not one indie running and you got to go and beg for a job and undercut to where, the Rybacks of the world or the Eric Rowans or other people or the Zack Ryders that are best friends with Cody are standing in line ahead of you.
So I didn't realize this. So EC3 actually went on the record to say he didn't want to do any particular podcast.
Yeah, he was like trying to work, but being a dick on Twitter, just like, I'm not doing your fucking podcast. Don't contact me. To like, okay.
The only way, and even then, I wouldn't necessarily do it unless you were told to. But the only way I can think of is if he's already signed or has something in the works, and that's the reason. But otherwise,
that's not working though, dude. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
Stick to your character. Right now in MLW, you got the business dudes there doing that, right? Holiday and whatnot. He could fit in with those guys. He could fit in with MJF. It's about him having options and looking like a superstar, and like to come off on that bitter stuff, and then everybody else too, people we love who are positive, and then other people just doing the excited about my opportunities for the future, like, you know, post that's like part of the process after getting future endeavored. Yeah. So yada yada yada. Zelina Vega post hot bathing suit pics on her Instagram at Zelina_Vega WWE. So if you like looking at Latino married chick, guy who's married to a Satanist, and looking at her camel toe or whatever you like to do, if that's your thing, hop on over to her Instagram, where she's wearing a pink bikini and a feather boa negligee and feather 6-inch pumps, all in pink, while standing next to a tree outside. If that's what you got, if that's what you like in your spank bank, then by all means, have at her. Let's see what else. Lacey Evans' military makeover campaign. She's doing something with Military Makeover, partnering there. It's our honor and privilege to be a part of the initiative. It's very personal to me, working alongside Montel Williams and Military Makeover team to help our veterans and families in need has been a life-changing experience that I'm so grateful to be a part of. I'm incredibly grateful to WWE to help us identify and support more veterans. I also can't say enough good things about Lacey Evans, said Montel. She's a fierce advocate for her fellow veterans, and I'm excited to continue the partnership with her advocacy. I hope that she goes over and gives Michael Hayes a beautiful eyelash makeover. I'd really like to see his something to make his eyelashes pop when he's in the ring. How about you, Beast?
Love it. And I'll say it aside, I think Lacey's someone who understands the importance of character.
Oh,
and yeah, I've really.
But the character's bad and wrong, in my opinion, Beast.
Bad and wrong,
dude. She's a single mom. Yeah. She's had tragic deaths in her family. She's a Marine, and she's a buxom, athletic blonde. And like, do we really need the Savannah, Georgia plantation streetcar named Desire for her to hide behind? Like, all that other shit is way better, way more believable than the I got the vapors fucking Southern shit that is just a rib on Vince McMahon ribbing the South, dude.
Oh, either way, I think she's still taking. You're right, and I sometimes real life is better than the what you create. But I think either way, she's taken that character and has made the most out of it.
I agree with that fully. Yeah. I mean, my boot guy is Steve the Shoe Man, and she ordered 7 pairs of boots from him, dude. I'll stooge us off.
Wow.
All just to match her wardrobes that she had made specific. She takes her shit seriously. And even on the boots, she had them do an inside secret pocket so she can reach down and pull out like a doily thing or whatever to dot herself and do, oh, it's so hot in here. Like, she definitely, and that's the meticulousness and seriousness of someone who was a former Marine taking that work ethic to wrestling. You know what I mean? So, and maybe it's just me being a Northern guy. I'm never going to connect with that Song of the South shit. And all this other stuff is right there to drive her to be doing that. But they're not even making her the pinup girl from Boogie Woogie Bugle Boy at Company B to like even touch on the military stuff most of the time. Once in a while they scrape the surface, but dude, that's where the money is, dude, with her, I think.
You're correct, but I think when you think of the long game though, this character that she's playing out right now, I think there's still more to be played with it, and of course there's of course higher levels that can be played up to, but imagine, once this character is played out to the end, at that point, you can shred all that, and she could even say, this is bullshit, I'm not doing this anymore, and then start really embracing that Marine character. And then you have life as a whole new individual that's really more yourself. And if anything, I think in the long run, it may end up being to her benefit to play this character out now. And then when she's ready to be more of the real life story and to have that presented on TV, then that's going to allow her even more longevity in her career, possibly. It's just my 2 cents.
I wonder if the origins of that was a rib on Dixie, Stevie, to be honest with you.
I would have to 100% agree with that. And that is probably 100% of the motivation, if not 99, let's give them a little bit of credit, of this company. the business is a rib. That's why people don't take it seriously either, because what you just described, Man Beast 2, we only, life is short. Pushes are even shorter, and your time in that company should not be wasted for 1 second. So when they go and they give Farouk the helmet and do all these other things that are years and years and decades, however long, the things they do to try to break these people down before they supposedly build them up, it's a waste of time. The biggest names in this business of all time, Savage, Hogan, Warrior, other people that you look at, even a Rick Rude type, had always been. You're never telling Rick Rude, oh yeah, just for the next year, we're going to make you look like an idiot and you're going to be a comedy act and this and that. No, that doesn't do it. Another example is the Viking Raiders, which all you got to do is sit down, turn on your fucking TV and watch Viking stuff. Watch the History Channel. Watch the 17 shows, including Game of Thrones. It's being written for you. But what they have to do is say, that's no fun. That's no fun for a billionaire. What's fun is make them dance. They're no different than the people we talked about in the beginning with the London Olympic Games.
Yeah. Stevie, you didn't see that right after on the show Vikings when they did the Blood Angel where they cut into the guy's back and pulled his lungs out through the back of his spine and let him die slowly that way, where they got in the Subaru Outback and jammed out to the Hanson brothers. You didn't see that one?
Yeah. They were actually using his lungs to sing the karaoke.
It was great. It was a good time.
And what you just described to me makes me happy. I've never seen one of those shows. I don't like that gory stuff.
They don't. That's like one of the most extreme
don't lie
parts.
to me. They did it. You fuck.
They did.
They lied.
It's not like they do it every week. Like Blood Eagle of the Week.
Dude, they rip my brain out every week. I watch these shows.
But it should be.
But you see what I mean? Like ribs are the world the way it is. Look at what's going on in government.
Mm-hmm.
You got no time to play these games. Wrestling resembles what we're seeing in the real world right now, not in a positive light. They are playing games with people's lives. And then after these people get released, the Stockholm syndrome of, holy shit, what am I going to do? I'm so sad now. How sad and how upset and frustrated and depressed were you when you were there? Measure that. To now, like I said in the video, in a positive way, it's all on you. If I can do it, Man Beast can do it, Bing can do it, other people can do it. Why can't you do it?
And I've never been to WWE, unlike these two. But maybe she is playing the long game, and the long game is the South will rise again. So we'll see if the South will rise and if Lacey Evans' character stays the same.
If I can add one more thing.
Yeah.
I know why she's doing it. Because she was homeless.
Yeah.
She understands what it's like, and it's not about her. She'll dance for Vince and do the stupid Southern shit because she's got somebody more important to think about. Mm-hmm. And I commend her for that.
I agree. And it's just about getting max value to me. Like, she could be your Liberty Bell, Glow Part 2, all that shit. And she's just, 40% character value with that stuff there. You're only going to take it so far. But I agree with you too, Beast. There's more value. There's more time to run it out if you're gonna transition her and make her.
And I'll say too. I'm purely speculating. I'm just trying to think. Devil's advocate. What might be the other side of the coin there? That's where I don't know. But that is in my mind a possibility. Sure, she's playing out the long game.
Mike Chioda comments on his WWE release. I am so proud. That's kind of a weird quote to put there, but as it could be misinterpreted. But I'm sure a veteran WWE official Mike Chioda has broken his silence following his release last week. Gave his thoughts on social media. He was a surprise name on the release after over 30 years with the company, where he'd been one of the lead officials, being in charge for many of the major moments. He's now commented and said, I want to say thanks to WWE and all my amazing WWE fans in the universe. 35 years and 31 years refereeing, working for the WWE has been a fantastic run. Wow. I'm so proud to have worked with so many icons, amazing talent in this industry. Thank you all. One love, Mike Chioda. From WrestleMania 5 till now, bro, that is a fucking hell of a run, dude. There's no doubt about that. It just reads like, I'm so proud I was released. No, that's not what it is. He's proud of his time there. And a lot of people were like, wow, Chioda got it. Nobody's safe. But after 31 years, probably on the balance sheet of what he's getting paid versus what you're paying our good buddy Package Chris Sharp, it's a no-brainer, that you keep one guy and, that's his rate is probably about 6 times of what everybody else is on the roster is after being there for so long.
I don't think that's necessarily true. You're talking in terms of, that's like saying people on TV make a ton of money and they're millionaires. I have to disagree with that. Okay. He was probably there for so long because he did ring crew. He did other things backstage in production. He also reffed. Charles Robinson has multiple jobs. So for the value, and that's
John Cone too. John Cone does all the extra booking, right?
Yeah, but if that's what I mean, you have people with multiple tasks there, wearing multiple hats, and you're still releasing them. This whole thing, and that's another example. Look at Chioda after 31 years. There's no lifetime job, so do what you have to do. They don't owe you anything, and you don't owe them anything. Make sure you take care of you and yours.
Good. Really appreciate you talking me down there. WWE's
what?
No, talking me down from the ledge, not like talking down to me.
Oh, okay. My dyslexia. I'm talking down to you.
No, I didn't clarify. It could have been taken either way. Triple H interviews recent release superstar, calls in on the bump. So it was about the Drake Maverick thing. This is just a repeat. But they're putting over Triple H tomorrow, 25 years of Triple Game coming up tomorrow night on SmackDown. Man Beast, my only interaction outside of being a fan was when him and HBK came to OVW and did that little seminar bit and told us everything was going to be fine, that OVW is going nowhere.
OVW will always be a part of the WWE family.
And then 6 weeks later,
until next month.
Yeah, 6 weeks later, what a change that was. So I don't know if you've had any other interactions with Game or not, but I know as you were up there as an extra and did the CM Punk stuff and got your head shaved, if there was any...
It's just very cordial hellos. Yeah. Nothing more than that, really. No,
you didn't fucking tell him not to do your finisher or anything like that?
Well, it just didn't come up in conversation.
Oh, shit. What do you think? What's your game highlight of 25 years, Stevie?
Oh, man, there's so many. There's so many that I really can't talk about until the book comes out. Well, just let's say that the Triple H that I see fostering and caring for the younger talent today is not the Triple H that I dealt with.
Yeah, do you think he's been broken?
Not even close. He was cloned. This has to be a clone. This could not be the real person. So he's about 6 years away from getting released if we go by the litmus test of Chioda. Yeah, so get ready, start saving your money, kid.
Invest in other stocks. Cody files for trademark to get his second name back. It appears that Cody could soon be able to gain his second name back after the WWE trademark of his full name expired earlier this month. WWE originally trademarked the name Cody Rhodes when he first joined the company, and they kept it even after he left the company in 2016. Because of that, Cody tended not to use his full name through his career since leaving WWE. In AEW, he's simply known as Cody, and while everyone obviously knows he's Cody Rhodes, he hasn't been able to use that as part of his television persona. But under IC 025 US 022 039 GNS, bandanas, hoodies, sweatshirts, jackets, socks, pants, shirts, and sweatshirts that's what he filed the name for, and for the name itself for entertainment services and purposes on April 13th. Pretty interesting that WWE would let this slide, dude. Like, seems like if you're going to war, you would have all that legal on their whole roster checked out to make sure they're not getting anything by undercutting you. And it also shows that Cody and them are far more meticulous in fucking what they're doing and planning and plotting in their war room, while meanwhile Rome burns around you from all the fucking bullshit you caused yourself over at WWE. I like that. I like these kind of Jake moves and snake moves on here, man. What do you think, Stevie?
Yeah, I mean, what are you going to do? They're a little bit too comfortable right now, and this was stuff this is an example of what they should have been doing from day one on TV. This kind of stuff to expose every weakness of WWE and talk about it and really capitalize. That's why Nitro got so many ratings, because Bischoff was just doing so many taboo things to expose WWF back then for tape shows, finishes, things like that. And it worked for a while.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't think about that aspect, but you're right. How cool would it be if Cody, you cut it in passion promo on TV about how he had to fight legally to get his name back, and now he has his name back, and and actually kind of pulled the curtain back a little bit.
What if we did that same thing, but we did it Show Don't Tell, Man Beast, where he's on the phone with the attorney going, "It's filed. You tell me when it's back, because we're going to use it right away." No, it's my name. They're not going to fucking win. They're stupid. They tried, but they're not getting over on me, bro. And now this is just one of the. You filed the other one too? Good. And then hang it up, right? Like,
we don't want Scotty Goldman and hangs.
Yeah, we don't want you. Nobody's pulling anybody. Nobody's pulling anybody through chairs. Like, I knew when he drank, he was taking the drink. That was a mistake.
Almost got me.
Almost got me. Do you know about that one, Stevie? Did I tell you about that?
No, I don't. I need to hear
We'll
this.
do it. Cabana, part of Team Over or whatever it was, with Punk back in the day and Ace and those guys, Steel. And OVW, where the fans say it's like a 4-tiered bleacher that's like, each step of it is 6 feet wide, maybe. So when we have the go home there and everyone's shaking hands, it's contract and non-contract guys at TV. And I think it was Colt and it was, what's his name? Seth Skyfire.
Seth.
Yeah, Seth Skyfire. So you go to shake their hand and
I fell for it.
Yeah, but dude, this is an asshole thing. So you're on the tier above them, they're below you, and they shake your hand, and then you give them their hand, they pull you, and you go through the chairs. Like you could blow your knee out. You're taking a step down, and they think it's funny and cute because they're doing it to non-contract guys, and like, what can you do except take it? You're not going to be like, what the fuck? And then he tried to do it to me, and I fucking eyeball him. He's like, whoa, easy, and I fucking spit in the garbage can. He's like, oh yeah, I was like, yeah, motherfucker. Like,
who'd you say that to?
Colt. Like, dude, you don't fuck around with New Yorkers and shit. Like, especially, I'm not scared of fucking Colt, dude. He's a big dude, but nah. And I see,
even I'm not scared of him. No, I'm not even tough.
But like, that's like the persona of being the big baby face. But then when they're in there clicked up like that, dude, you see like some of the asshole things. Like, there's no reason to do that kind of stuff to people. And that's the shoot of like what goes on behind the scenes from your favorite. Like people say, the biggest heels are usually the nicest guys behind the scenes, and the baby faces are a lot of times the biggest assholes who are into themselves and think they're fucking over, dude. And that's been proven more times than it has. I'm not saying all of them, but dude, never have I tried to hurt somebody as a rib backstage in a way like that. Where what if you do, like I saw him do it to Dre Blitz and those guys who just worked, got his ass kicked by Vladimir Kozlov that night, and then he's got to fucking put up with that shit while paying Rip to go fucking take bumps to set up the ring so he can hopefully get on a fucking show to then get killed by roadkill the next week. Oh, what a fucking dream come true. Please pull me through the fucking chairs and blow my knee out. Can't wait.
And a lot of the guys at the time were also working third shift jobs at the bar. So literally they were leaving just to go make money so they could pay their rent. Yeah.
So they could have cost them money, and they could have been homeless because of a stupid little fucking joke.
Absolutely, dude.
And I'll say, fortunately, no one did get hurt, but you're right. The potential for, someone to actually get hurt was there. Yeah.
And they laugh right in your fucking face. I actually was just watching, not that I don't bash him, but we talked about Hannibal, and people are like, Hannibal, he wants to do an interview with you, Stevie. So they were telling me if you are interested, whatever. But his delivery is pretty dry, but he was bashing Zack Ryder, talking about when they were in Deep South and all this shit when he was paying to be a student there and trying to get his contract opportunity. And then Gallows and Ryder did that jelly donut ass fucking stink face thing. If Ryder took a dozen jelly donuts to the face, stink face from fucking Gallows, they didn't have to practice that day. So they did it. And fucking, when a guy like Hannibal who's invited to be there and is paying, well, everybody goes home. Now there's his fucking day to be like in the ring and get looked at. He's paid because it's a fucking rib to these guys who think they're over. And then also he's burying the Major Brothers, Riders and Hawkins, because they all lived in the same complex like we all did. And the next day, he didn't have a car. He was down there on his own dime. Like, hey, can I get a ride to practice? Yeah, meet us here, specific time. They fucking left him. He runs to the arena, gets there late because he doesn't want to get heat. And then DeMott questions him, and he's forced to stooge on everybody in front of the locker room. And then DeMott cuts the promo on the other guys like, you fucking assholes left them, and you live together. I know what you're doing. But damage is done already. You know what I mean? So, because that guy gets outed as a stooge because he has to fucking dance in front of everybody. Like, it's a motherfuck, man. It's a constant mind fuck for no reason from guys who have everything. They have the looks, they have everything handed to them, and they're still not happy. They still got to fuck with something, dude.
Business is hard enough as it is without adding those things to it. And your first story, remember, my wife always puts me over for having that instinct when I'm around certain types of people.
Yeah.
That those sirens, those alarms go off whenever I'm around one of those people. If you know what I'm talking about.
What kills me is Ace Steel is fucking the man. Dude.
No, he's not the guy. No, he's a good dude.
But like that whole clique, I'll talk about. I don't give a fuck about anything. Like, I smashed the fuck out of Cliff Compton and then he came backstage after Ali got hot at him in the ring and he fucking pie faced Ali. Now I guess they're fine, but I had to break that up too. I'm not fucking gonna deuce and domino all you want. I don't give a flying fuck. You know, and then you got Ace Steel in there who nobody's got heat with. Gallows kind of on the fringe of that. Punk, who, dude, I go in on that all day long. And none of them are really true to each other. You know what I mean? They're all, and Joey Mercury in that clique too, they're all suspect of each other, but they all act like it's tight and they all do snake moves, man.
They're wrestling friends. That's the term for it.
It's fickle, man. So that shit never stands up. And especially, we're going to war because of our podcast. And then you end up suing your friend because of the court fees you said you'd like. The reality will always fucking come out of the true character of that type of shit, man. Triple H, on the first time he ever met Vince McMahon, this guy had no idea who I am. He said, the very first time I met Vince was when I was still at WCW. My contract was coming to an end. He was over there terrorizing, and I was trying to gauge interest, and I guess you could say I took a meeting with J.J. Dillon at the time, was running talent relations, and was in charge of all that. I spoke with J.J., he brought me in for a meeting with Vince. Obviously, it's Vince McMahon, and he has a larger-than-life presence, and of course, it's probably the ultimate meeting that you could take in business, and especially at the time, going into the meeting, obviously, I was very nervous, expecting a great outcome, and then getting in there, and I realized this guy has no idea who I am. I'm sure he was asked to take a meeting with a talent, and here's a kid and that's new and up and coming whose contract is coming up. I don't believe he was aware necessarily of me or as a performer of my work, nor should he have been, I guess, at that time. We had a cordial meeting. He asked me what my plans were, and I was thinking about what I was doing. Wanted to go to WWE rather than stay where I was and all that kind of stuff. I'm surprised he didn't have Killer Kowalski put the call in for him to do it and just get it over that way. But,
Triple H didn't have, a lot of family to speak of back then, but now he's got the pedigree. Sorry, it was low hanging fruit. I had to take it.
Well, I was going to put that over earlier. Did you, I sent it to you on Instagram, El Plaza,
yes,
our video guy.
I did see that.
Stevie, I don't know if you heard on the Monday Locker Room, Man Beast came out with a killer Conan O'Brien opening monologue with some of his own stuff, which is going to be a new spot over there. And El Plaza put the video together and absolutely killed it, man. Good stuff.
I have to see, did he post it to the Facebook group?
It's on the Hamin Media IG right now. I'm not sure if it's in the Facebook group yet.
I'll check it out.
All right. Mojo Rawley claims Rob Gronkowski has a receipt coming. Oh, boy. Gronk may be returning to the NFL after spending the last year in retirement, but superstar Mojo Rawley, the three-time Super Bowl winner, has a receipt coming his way. Gronk was the guest host of WrestleMania 36 and actually won the 24/7 championship during the two-day broadcast. Quote, remember when I was at work and you cheap shotted me and stole my 24/7 title at Mania? Mojo said on Twitter, I can't wait to spear you in the middle of training camp and win my title back or during a Buccaneers game. I don't see that coming. I think the roll-up should happen on the coin toss, and it should be R-Truth disguised as a referee. We talked about that last night. There's a bunch of things that would be funny, or mascots could get over. R-Truth is like the Eagles mascot or something like that, right? And gets them. So I don't think anyone really gives two tugs on a dead dog's dick about Mojo winning it back, because the only reason they brought Gronk in is to get Mojo over for the multiple times they failed to elevate him. And now Gronk is back with his real tag partner, Tom Brady, in Buccaneers, making a lot more money, doing a lot less dates, and just shining how he wants to in Florida, probably rolling into every Miami club he can get his nose in.
I'll ask Man Beast this because I brought it up on the Horsemen. Do you think with the even the short amount of time that Rob Gronkowski was in WWE, that he saw that and he said, and then on top of Ben's theory, I agree with both being true. When he saw the way it was run, or he saw what he had to do, and he saw just every element of it, and of course no crowd, he said, fuck this, man. This is, you know what I mean? If it just wasn't worth, like, he thought it might have been cool, but when he was there, the curtain was lifted, and he was like, this isn't for me.
I absolutely believe that. When you come from a multi-million-dollar organization that's a well-run machine like the New England Patriots, and then you come to the political, pardon my French, shit show that is the wrestling locker room, that's supposed to be, I think, you have this expectation that, these companies, I get probably from his standpoint, that they're going to be, equally, well ran. And I agree with you. I think he probably came to the realization that it was not going to be the expectations that were set for him when he stepped foot backstage for the first time.
I actually
Now
heard
Ben's theory.
Oh, I actually heard that he is ordering $17 iceberg wedge salads to outdo Ronda Rousey on her $15 Waldorf salad. So, that's just the life they're living over there. No, it's like Ronda's doing the same thing. She came in on the contract and the glitz and glamour, and then the reality of being a worker and dealing with carny workers and the mafia of it all is too much for them, dude. They're not ready to handle it, to like step down, and it's a work. The lifestyle is a work, and constantly these wrestlers expose that on their Instagram or whatever it is as well. So
no, your theory about Brady and Gronk is interesting too.
Oh yeah. That they were in on this long before. Like, people are like, he just showed up. Nah, bro. Like, this is how me and GGP or me and anybody would work it. If I get into a territory and it's like, yeah, dude, I'll open it up and like get over there and bring me in, kind of. So they probably had this midway through the NFL season this year of like, dude, I think I'm going down there. It's time I'm getting the fuck out of Massachusetts. Fuck these winners. Like, let's go to Florida. Dude, you get over there, get me in. All right, man, let's go. And that's what they're down for, man. They want to cash in big for another 2 years, shine some light down there in Florida, party, and that's it, dude. They had this shit cooked up. This isn't just like last week or two and they came to the decision of this, man.
It was actually 2 years ago. I think 2 years ago, because Garoppolo trade and then trying to trade Gronk to the Lions was in the same season, or beginning of the season and afterwards, after they lost to the Eagles. So they probably got together 2 years ago and let's get the fuck out of here sometime soon.
Probably.
I'm sorry, man, Beast.
Oh, no, I was going to present the question to both of y'all. Do you think it is in the works for them to try to get Tom Brady in for a cameo, or do you think that's completely off the table?
He'd never fucking do that, man.
Really?
I think the coin toss, he'd be pissed about that, because Tom Brady takes that seriously. Mm-hmm. Football. He will not make it a joke. He protects his brand, protects the brand of the business of the NFL too. He would not. I thought that too. Like, even if they have WrestleMania in the stadium, Tom Brady wouldn't show up for that. They're brothers, they're boys, but no, man, he's got TB12 and this other stuff. If anything, on the other end of it, Gronk is going to be training the TB12 method to get ready for the NFL season. Mm-hmm. Brady would never do. His wife would never let him do that. They didn't even want to move. Dude, they wouldn't move to Indianapolis because it wasn't high. Like, it wasn't
high society enough.
Yeah, man. So you want to talk about anti-high society wrestling? I do. I mean, do you agree with that as you think about that?
Yeah. Given those circumstances, I didn't even think about that standpoint, but you're right. Given the fact that he has, not allowed himself to be placed in those, I guess, lesser societal situations. But yeah, that makes sense to me.
And Brady's not a mark for it. Dude, Gronk is a Buffalo Bills meathead who parties on Chippewa, who drank Labatt's Blue, who drinks J-Mo and fucking likes to get loud and dance like a fool. Like that, there's a thousand
we know
guys.
that part for sure.
There's 1,000 guys every night downtown Buffalo who you could swap in and out, who just aren't NFL stars. So that's really what this guy, that's as simple as it is. It's him loving wrestling, being a Buffalo meathead. It's not like, Brady, get in on this wrestling thing. It's going to be over and we'll help him. That's just the fun side of his buddy who happens to be in wrestling, where he gets to live out his Buffalo Mark fantasy through it. Now, what they'll do to help elevate the 24/7 title with an NFL brand and do a spot behind it, sure, that'll be good. But, anything much more than that, I think the writing's on the wall for Mojo Rawley, dude, because Gronk is going to go where he knows his bread is buttered, and that's Tom Brady, not empty arena WrestleMania. And he was. Go ahead.
I was going to ask him, piece. Did you see his entrance on SmackDown?
Oh God, it was ridiculous. It was like a caricature.
I'm releasing a new meme today. My previous meme on Instagram was, "Don't let your friends do your create a wrestler. This may happen." The other one is, the moment Gronk wanted to go back to the NFL, that was it.
Dude, so brutal.
100.
And he was up there in that skybox at Mania, and this is my segue into that. WWE provides storylines injury update after attack on Elias following SmackDown attack. And Corbin, kicked him off of that, and he had a bruised larynx and a broken middle and pinky finger after last week's attack from backstage. So I was like, dude, he can fall from 2 stories onto concrete and not have any back injury whatsoever. But here he gets, a broken larynx and 2 broken fingers after getting smashed with a guitar and his hands stepped on. I was like, one seems like a way more dangerous thing where you would sell it. Oh my God, he knocked him off a 2nd story and now he's got a back brace on, and then you hit him with the guitar and he's down or something. But like, after falling 2 stories, I expect Elias to be back next week, pop his finger back into place and be good to go. Like, singing voice will be A+, you know what I mean? But if they're doing the larynx thing, the whole thing should be that he now has his neck scarf wrapped around. His voice is his most precious thing, and that he can't talk. He has to have somebody talk for him. He writes things down on paper and has to give it to somebody. Like, there's a lot they could do here, but will they do here? And if it's about his pinky and whatnot, he can't play the guitar. So that's the whole id of what they've taken away. I don't mind that if they play it the right way.
Right, I agree. It was poor timing given he just took that huge bump.
Yeah.
And so, but I agree. I think if they play it right, that it has the potential to. Now, it remains to be seen, but I think it definitely has potential.
Do you think Scrap Daddy Adam Pearce just took him to the back after that big bump off the top, and like Al Snow can do the chiropractic and just pop his neck and back right in place and he's good to go? That's what helped him, or not?
Well, if so, that they need to show that needs to be the gimmick. As long as Adam Pearce is there to manipulate him afterwards, he's good. But then 1 week, Adam Pearce is gone. Where did he go? Well, he can't get his treatment now. What's he gonna do?
That's it. Carb cycles. Stevie.
It's just any form of empty arena wrestling is just awful.
Yeah.
Even the backstage stuff. And the funny thing is, like, out of everything, a 2-story, you could have done it so much better rather than this 2-story fall. He legitimately trying to break his fingers and trying to step on his throat, or doing the whole thing on the guardrail, dropping him across the throat. You're right. I mean, dude, we just talked about how people can get paralyzed from a shoulder block in the ring. And this guy, his fingers and his larynx, people are like, wow, he's lucky. Like, there's no sympathy. There's no sympathy. You can walk. No, who gives a fuck if you can sing or play the guitar? You fell 2 stories and you can still get up and walk away. This is doing the opposite effect.
And it's not even showing him putting it over, like, of what he's lost, like, know my hand and know my voice. Like, what is there for me? You know what I mean? That's empathy that we need to build on a guy who's, again, walking the line between smart ass heel and sexy baby face who really isn't the sex appeal that we've made him yet.
The thing is too that they did the Paul Orndorff effect with him, where they flipped him back and forth too many times too quickly. If this was his first babyface run after being a heel, he'd have a lot more steam. But it's stale already, because this is like second verse, same as the first.
Yeah,
that's why I don't react to it, because he's not as over, because they've watered him down and they've told you it's just a fake character that we keep going back and forth with. So you don't need to care.
And he doesn't. I don't think they do. In Empty Arena Wrestling this week, I will say Impact, it was strange to see the first one from them as Empty Arena, but they did do a hell of a job. It didn't feel, maybe because the place is smaller than AEW's taping even, but it had a lot of energy. And then in the main event, they did a great job by starting off with Sammy and Ken Shamrock. It goes right to the back, and then they go into action movie. They shoot the whole thing cinematic, underlying soundtrack, the whole nine, man. And it worked to really... they opened the show, which was brilliant, with the Charles Bukowski from Factotum, a whole passage from there with highlight reel over the top of it. So anybody who, is somewhat literate and has read a fair amount of beats, poets type stuff would know where this came from, and to see it in wrestling automatically heightened like the level of the show right off the bat. I was like, wow. And then to close on that, they really did a hell of a job that WWE and Impact haven't done yet. And they did it in their first goddamn week of coming out with it. But Top Stars officially pulled from that show. Where Tessa Blanchard, because it was supposed to be going down at Rebellion between Eddie Edwards and Mike Elgin and her, even as weird as that sounds. But because of COVID-19, she says, "I'm sorry to all fans of Impact Wrestling. I wasn't there tonight. These times affect each one of us very different in very significant ways. I encourage everyone to stay home. That includes myself. Great job, everyone who competed tonight." Talked about this on the Impact Attack plenty, how they haven't worked the matches right with her, and they're doing strikes and burying wrestling, and it's all for the push when they could protect the wrestling, get her over, and make it believable. Instead, it's been blown out the wazoo. It needs to come off her. I think this would have been the place, like, she can't be here. We got to strip her of the title, and these guys are going for it, because this has been a failed experiment from the time that Brian Cage buried himself by going 50-50 with Tessa Blanchard and doing strikes and not knocking her out with one. We were fucked. Sammy worked the match the right way, but everybody since then has worked it the wrong way. Like last week, they were ping-ponging her. The North was ping-ponging her with punches and elbows back and forth, and then she kicks out. It doesn't go down. Come on, dude. Like, experiment over. Tap out. I'm done investing in that kind of shit, dude, for sure. Go ahead.
And I was going to say, and that just doesn't come to the fact that it just, not just because she's a woman, it's the size of her. If you would treat her the same way you would treat a cruiserweight wrestler.
Yeah,
or you wouldn't have Madman Fulton kick Rey Mysterio in the face and expect him just to pop back up. It's all in how it's worked. So I think she's a hell of a talent. But I agree with you. I don't think it's the way the matches are worked has not been conducive.
What blows my mind is that her old man is, Magnum TA and, Tully. And we're seeing her work matches where guys are getting strikes on her. How our dad and pulling aside going, "You're not doing that anymore. You're grounded." Whatever.
Well, but that's assuming that she has that kind of relationship with her dad that they talk wrestling. I mean, they might purposely talk about everything except wrestling. I know a lot of times like for instance when we hang out wrestling does come up, but a lot of times when you're with family or friends that might be involved in the wrestling industry, that might be the furthest thing you might talk about when you do have
I get it, but if I feel I was running a chainsaw between my legs backwards, in front of my old man, he'd probably tell me to stop doing that. He'd probably go, "That's not how you run that son of a bitch. You're probably going to cut your nuts off doing that." And then I could identify as a woman and get my AEW contract. Stevie?
Yeah, they had a gift horse looking them right in the mouth where they could have easily got out of this, get out of jail free card with how they painted themselves into a corner. Any more cliches you guys need while I'm going? They needed to figure that out, and maybe this is a different generation too. And we saw the whole thing with the Sandman, like controversy and other things. And then Jordan Grace on social media doing certain things or saying them.
Trish
and then
Parker, if you will.
Huh?
Trish Parker, if you will.
I'm sorry. Well, Sonya Deville puts up a real name too. They all do. So why not? Why don't I be Michael Manna from now on? Because everybody knows Stevie Richards Fitness run by Michael Manna, because that doesn't confuse the fuck out of anybody.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is, like, are we at a point now where they're a little bit worried? I'm not, and this is speculation. Like, what's the blowback going to be? Is Tessa going to be pissed? Are we going to deal with like a headache with that? Does she understand that it'll be good business to protect her to take it this way? Because maybe then her chasing the title, she was much more over than being the champion. Anybody that's a good worker as a babyface understands, man, after I win the belt, there's a good chance this is going to be stale. I did it in Wildcat. I slowly turned myself heel. A little bit of that just kind of happened because I was in the ring with Luke Hawx and a couple other people that were baby faces trying to have a babyface match. And the people kind of turned me, and I went with it because I said, babyface champions tend to be stale. No, it's not Hulk Hogan where you hope the babyface retains the title. People want to see title changes. So unless she turns heel, this is already probably pretty stale, I would guess, right?
Oh, and so is Elgin Eddie. They did a best of 5 series, and they didn't do it the right way, where it should have been Elgin goes over strong in all 3. Eddie comes back with an id to do something, and then they can spin out and do something storyline based. Instead, they mixed all this dog shit in there where she's kicking out of Elgin's power bombs and shit. So we're super fucked right there. And, you know, the reality of how I would book this beast is, all right, it is a gift horse, like Stevie said. Take her out of it. So you've already slipped something away from her. So she's reaching for it. Like, no, that was all mine, and now it's not there. She gets the chance to come back. Taya Valkyrie grabs her around the leg in some reason to pull her back into the women's division. The men's title gets farther away from her reach. She's got to deal with Taya and then somebody else and gets roped into something. Meanwhile, she's trying to get back there and can't get it, and it changes in another way where you don't even see how she can get back to it anymore. Then that story of the title happens where somebody gets taken out of the equation and there's an open spot. Who's it going to be? You think it's another guy that's coming in, but Tessa walks out, gets put back into a 3-way of some type as a mystery person. And then maybe you ever go over, but maybe not slip over. But you have to go all the way back around while people forget that she lost her spot, and then she can plug back in. But that's like 8 months, in my opinion. How you feel on that?
I agree. It's always playing the long game and getting people emotionally invested in the story. That's how you get those magical moments when she finally gets her comeuppance and wins it back, and you get that monster reaction, assuming fans are in the crowd at that point.
Right.
But definitely. And since you brought her up, I know it's probably been talked to death before about how Ty has been used and you know, her trading punches. But since you mentioned Taya, she was someone that I mentioned to my wife. I said, now someone like her, I could see, you know, going toe to toe with some of the guys, simply because it does not take anything away from Tessa, but just because she has the physical presence to look like she could, you know, possibly go toe to toe with the punches.
And if you hit
someone that's twice your size, again, you wouldn't have Brock Lesnar punch Rey Mysterio and him just look at him. You know what I mean?
And that's what Tessa's doing. Like if you hit Taya, she would sell away like, I'm a woman, how could you hit me? And then she, like, as you came in, be like, I'm sorry. She'd scratch your eyes, punch you in the face, hit you in the balls, like all the shit, right?
And I don't want to put our stuff over. We did because Al Snow with OVW, he's also very big on it has to be done the right way. And we convinced him to do a match a couple months back with one of our top contenders, or our top male contender, our top female contender, and it worked out the way they worked. It was Maxine Paler and Jax Dane.
Was it all threat of violence and reversals? No one really gets anything until like.
Well, what it was a lot of slow playing. Like, you know, he didn't want to touch her, but you know she's a beast of a woman, so she hit him. You know, and he's getting more angry, and he has no choice but to sell. And she laid it into him too. So I mean, it was good. Like, she was legit. Like, you know, it was safe, but she was letting them have it. And then there was outside interference and blah blah. It was smoke and mirrors, but it worked in the sense that nothing got buried. There's even a big table spot where she speared him through the table at the end, and that was the big whoa shit. It's all in how you work it.
Right. Yeah, she can get whatever she wants on him. You have to try and strike and miss, and she out wrestles you. That's if you're fighting from underneath. Now, if you're not the the Queen Destroyer Kong or whatever.
Wait, on one more point, I did want to say, you mentioned that last night was the first no fans or empty arena shows for Impact, and you said you thought it was well done overall.
I thought it was. I said this on the Impact Attack. This was the best empty arena show aside from WrestleMania. This over AEW and WWE. Impact had their first empty arena show. They looked at what everybody else done and had failed. They knew they had to take it home strong, so they went cinematic with it, dude, and it fucking worked brilliantly. But the finish was fucked. Sorry. Ken Shamrock and him, they're back and forth, going for the choke. He hits him against the trailer outside, breaks it, Shamrock reverses out, gets Sammy in an ankle lock. Sammy passes out from the pain of the ankle lock. I don't like that, dude. Passing out from the pain of an ankle lock.
And he's a heel, right?
And he's a heel, dude. I would have liked to see him scratch and claw, get to a manhole cover and pull it off and go down in the sewers, and he just escapes that way. And then because they just did that on Better Call Saul too, something similar. But the main heel escapes in a tunnel while he's trying to get assassinated, and he comes out. Andy Dufresne crawled through 5 miles of shit that day. Give me the Sammy Callahan coming out of the shit pipe covered in stuff to get away from Shamrock. You know what I mean? So.
Well, here's my question: Is WWE and AEW pre-taping theirs, or are they still live?
WWE is live because they have to be on some stuff for their contracts with Fox and USA. AEW's all taped, and then Impact's all taped now.
And the only reason I bring that up is because there is a lot to be said about post-production, as we've learned with OVW. Going live is just a lot harder, and when you post-produce things, you have more of an opportunity to kind of clean it up and present it better.
Did you see? I felt bad for him. MVP in his seg. So he's got the big get-over match for Money in the Bank, and you think, all right, they're going to put MVP in probably as a legend. But Apollo Crews goes over, but MVP comes out and he cut the promo. And he's like, and I don't care. I told you last week, Aleister Black. I mean, Apollo Crews, dude, botched his promo live. There's a point where it's all right, this is the live segment and went out. But, you could easily gone back and post and cut that 2 seconds and save that. But I felt bad for dude on that, man, where he botched his line. You could see it hit him right in the nuts, too, after he said it.
Either that or he just becomes so deranged, he thinks everyone's Aleister Black.
That's it. Satan's got him. WWE has posted several post-match interviews from Raw last night. Shayna Baszler discusses why she is breaking people's arms. Baszler first attacked Sarah Logan last week, then stomped down to break her arm in Britt, and she did the exact same thing this week to Indy Hartwell, even using the ladder to make things worse.
Excuse me, Shayna. Shayna, sorry to bother you, but for 2 weeks in a row now, you have seemingly incapacitated your opponents, and they've not been able to continue the match. Is that by design, or what's going on?
She walked away. She didn't say anything. I mean, this is just brilliant stuff. I'm an off-camera guy asking her that, and she just walks away, dude.
It sounded more like a dominatrix type porn thing. Excuse me, Shayna. I like for her to say, "Well, that's what bites you. Oh, don't worry."
Yeah.
I'd be like,
Would you rather have me bite people in the back of the neck? What do you want to do? I got to do something here. Yeah, dude. He's not Nine Fingers Dewey with the broken arm, but, he's out here snapping them. I don't know why. What's the heat? Who's going to come back to do something? Because it's not like, she's got to go up against Becky. She already beat her. So is she going to come and break Becky's arm now? But We
Do you
already
think
showed
they're hoping that Ronda would come back because Ronda had an arm finish?
the arm breaker gimmick. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, and Ronda's working now, but who knows with what they might want to do with Nia to rib him and try and get something over with him. So, especially.
So how would that promo go if Nia talked to Shayna?
You're going to finish that? I'll eat that if you're not going to eat it. You better finish that. I'm on low carbs
Take
this
a seat,
week.
dude.
It's Coke Zero. I can have as many as I want to. So do you want to work a match with me at SummerSlam? Huh?
I'm the one.
I'm the
Man,
one.
Beast that's going to bump into her one day. Not him. I'm the one.
You're going to have to answer for it.
I'm going to have to answer for it. I'm just like hoping the CT kicks in. I really won't remember any of this.
Well, I'll tell you, Kyrie's saying her contract is up this month. And
Yeah, what a rib that is, too.
I showed you that clip. We saw the one that was a GIF, but then somebody had it with the sound pumped up, and she goes, "No, Nia, I'm not set." Bah! And fucking chucks her, and that's when she hits her fucking head in the fucking gimmick. If you go back and listen to it, she says, "No, Nia, I am not set." Nia goes, "Fuck you, it's sushi time," and here we roll. And dude, just hucks her. Somebody put together a best of Michael Jackson's Dangerous with her breaking fucking Becky Lynch's nose, with her just fucking cleaning bitches' clocks and like not giving a shit, being unathletic as hell. And, you know,
Well, she's the one that came to Alexa Bliss's defense about unsafe workers, too.
Yep.
Okay.
That's the pot calling the kettle a cow. That's when it goes. The Revival and NWAT's potentially working together. Oh, I was going to ask you on the Impact thing, because here's a woman that I got to put over as kind of my second woman MVP of wrestling. And I'd probably put top 5 performers overall that I've seen in the last month is Madison Rayne. Is she still OVW women's champ or no? Dude.
Yes, she is. We actually just did a little, we did a highlight reel show a couple weeks ago, did an interview with her, but yeah, she's still with us.
She has been phenomenal on commentary, especially after having to go through the Renee Young and all the bullshit of here's somebody that's not ready being forced and who doesn't have the credibility or dues paid to talk about this. She's not only kayfabing their relationship that they're married with Josh Matthews. They get ribs in on each other where he tries to rib her. She comes over the top strong as a worker, zings him, but it's still high level underneath the subtext of it. And she calls the matches and puts over the things properly how it should be, dude. She's absolutely fucking killing it on Impact right now is keeping that show going.
I was going to say, if you get a chance, check out, we literally just released I think it's the last episode of OVW TV we put on YouTube, but I'll say just as from a performing standpoint, so we've been doing these retrospective shows. That's how we've been presenting ours, because in Kentucky, we can't legally, because of the Kentucky Commission, run any shows, period.
The gut will get you.
So it's been overly scripted, and it's been difficult. I'll say as a performer, I'm always all about improving, but Al's been having certain points he wants made, so we've just been kind of going through the script, and it is what it is. But this last one we did with Madison, he didn't want to overly. He had certain bullet points he wanted to hit, but he allowed us to do more improv work with her and talk with her, and it was a lot of fun, and she did great with maintaining, I thought, her heat throughout the show and her character. And it was just really, it was a pleasure, really, just to go in there and just have an idea and just riff off each other.
She's facilitating everybody else's storyline right now in a great way. Wherever if she's backstage and it's something that needs to be tied together, she's the tie that binds. In commentary, it's not like the tongue in cheek of Lana Rusev type stuff. You know what I mean? It's really good. And she's coming off as a pro and could possibly be the best, like not even female announcer in the top 3 announcers in wrestling right now, dude, in the job she's doing. And that's no bullshit, like, to put it over, dude. Like, I'm very impressed.
She's a pro, and not to peel back the curtain and say, because I'll probably get heat for this, I don't care, but it's the locker room, I can say it. But a couple months ago, we did have her come in when she won the title. Earlier in the night, we had a segment where she was supposed to interrupt, but our production people, shit happens, but they played her music first, where she had to go out first and then get interrupted, but she ended up saving the entire segment. So if you watch that show, I think we show it on the retrospective we just did, but the whole segment was out of order, and you'll see she completely saved it just from playing up her character and improving, and it just comes down to that.
Good, man. Good. The Revival and NWA tease potentially working together. Revival, recent release from WWE, and former tag champs have begun teasing they could be NWA bound for the Crockett Cup, possibly. They were asked people they'd want to see. Cash Wheeler, featuring formerly known as Scott Dawson, responded with simple hashtag FTR, which means fuck the Revival, if you know that. It didn't take long for Dave Lagana to respond either. Simply posting a GIF showing his interest in the idea. Considering the Revival's old school approach, a run in NWA could be very interesting. I agree. That'd be a good spot for them to show up. They could do something with Rock and Roll Express. They could do something with, teams that they don't have to work a Legends way and do quick, good business. But Stevie Lagana was quick to respond.
Be kind.
Yeah.
Reply to tweets.
Showed him one GIF.
Quote. Yes. Just show me one GIF. They might leave some money on the table by going to NWA, but are they marks for that kind of stuff?
Yeah. I think that'll just be one-offs things where they tell Billy we want $3,000 each, and Billy will go, fuck yeah, I'll pay that, dude. Or $7 each or whatever they ask for. Billy already said he's willing to sink $1 million of his own money and do it just to be a loss leader on this. Man Beast, save the Lagana for your mama. I'm not down with that drama. What's going on with what do you think with Revival? We saw them, the Vince McMahon clown version that was supposed to be. I expect we'll see that on somebody else, because that idea is just going to be kicking around over there. Who it drops on, I fear for, but what are you thinking about Revival, NWA, the business model of NWA? I'd like to hear your opinion on that.
Well, first of all, in regards to Lagana, one should not look a GIF horse in the mouth, but that's beside the point. Sorry, I couldn't help myself. I think out of all the options the Revival have right now, I think that is the best spot for them, because the Revival, to me, feels like they're kind of representing themselves as a throwback team. So I think NWA, especially since their big thing, their big why is tradition and wrestling, and this has been hundreds of years of sport, and it just basically just goes back to the history of what they are as a tag team and what NWA is trying to present. So I think those two match up really well, and I think that's probably the best option for them right now, personally. As far as their business model, I don't know. I feel like NWA's never, at least in the last 30 years, they just has not been able to get to that mainstream point like the other big players have been able to get to. And I don't know if it just comes down to, them not having a consistent way to market themselves on TV, or if it's just, the different players been in and out, rotating management. I'm not sure, honestly. But
well, if you got 250,000 YouTube views, and that's your only way that you're putting your show out there, and you don't have exclusive advertisers, like you're not. What are you making on 250,000 on a YouTube view? Maybe $30 a month on that, residual. That's not going to be enough to pay people's trans and whatnot. So they're not touring the show; they're just taping, and they got to pay all that overhead. Everybody coming in. I get it. Billy's a rock star and he wants to establish, but if you don't have the sale ready to go to Netflix and Amazon to really have them fund this, and you're not doing road shows, I mean, I love seeing Damian Sandow, Idol Stevens kill it with more funny character and that shit, or seeing some old school wrestling, or seeing Stu. Really, I think he's great on commentary over there too, or Eddie Kingston taking the opportunity and just taking it next level with his promos. But business model wise, I see no roadmap for success or profit here whatsoever, even sustainability, dude.
And I don't know, because I haven't been in that locker room, but I do wonder how the bureaucracy is there as far as management and getting stuff done. Not that anything wrong with the people in positions themselves, but I know, for instance, OVW, who I'd worked with, we were planning for months to do a crossover show with them, and then finally Al got so sick of just the back and forth and trying to do this and that he just said it wasn't worth it, just to try to get a show together. So I don't know if that maybe, because sometimes when you add too much red tape to things, it's just hard to get anything done, whether it be marketing or presentation, whatnot. So I don't know if that's the issue, but that is something that in my mind comes to mind that might be part of the heart of it. Is just that their inner workings just aren't what it needs to be in order to be a successful business.
I mean, they got Marquez, they've got Lagana, they've got Brian Hebner, and they have Billy and Magnus. Seems like that's their core unit. Imagine with other producers that they may have brought on. So I'm sure with Marty Scurll and ROH, that's where they want to go relationship-wise, and maybe even that's tough to get done, back and forth. But I think NWA needs OVW. They need to tour on audiences that are built already, because otherwise I don't see, aside from them selling to get a TV deal, which I don't think that's going to happen, or to a subscription service that's going to pay for it. At the end of the day, it's just going to be Billy's money, and when he's had enough of losing or runs out of his fun money, that's all she wrote. It was a nice little experiment. We did what we wanted to do, and now I own all the property that has value, and I can turn around and sell my tape library 15 years down the road for whatever I need to do. That's about the only value I'm seeing. Stevie, anything else I might be missing there?
No, I mean, right now is the time with the lack of entertainment, TV shows, sitcoms, or any. There's nothing really filming right now. So if you have a chance to even get a short-term deal to get some exposure for a 13-run episode or 8 or whatever, even on even on some local stations around here in the Georgia area, to bring back the local TV and then try to run Georgia. If you want to run some house shows, say you tape your TVs on, when you get them there for a full week, you tape Wednesday and Thursday, and you got Friday, Saturday, Sunday to run the house shows. You do that once a month.
Okay.
That could be something.
I saw it as like, if the real leverage, wrestling isn't even what it is. That's Billy's pet project. If the real leverage is Smashing Pumpkins, and Billy could go to Netflix and go, I'll give you a free concert, or we'll do a concert and I'll give you a price on it from Germany or some shit, but you're going to carry 3 seasons of NWA after this and pay X amount for it.
Well, but that could be just how serious he is about taking it to the next level.
I think that's a smart, that's what I would leverage for him. Wrestling's a niche, Smashing Pumpkins is global. They want a concert to draw people, give them a price on it, but no, they're going to pay on the other end. They're going to pay full price, but they're only going to pay the Pumpkins half, and Billy forgoes whatever it is for him to keep his pet project going. That's the only way I see sustainability, is leveraging Pumpkins performances, libraries, and documentaries for subscription services to carry the wrestling product.
And if Rowan is smart, he'll try to get in on that, so that way he can come out during the Rat in a Cage song.
Oh, that'd be excellent. Spider in a cage. I hope the spider.
Oh, that's right. It was a spider. Oh,
well,
shit.
That's all good.
I messed up the joke.
Well, I was hoping that the spider wasn't dead, and that the spider is still around someplace, and we get to see from the spider's point of view the backstage. That would have been excellent. Or not.
You want to talk about baby faces commit murder in 2020, and it's okay.
Dude, yeah. I mean, this guy's walking scot-free. Who knows when he's going to try and kill again? He almost got Roman Reigns once. WWE employee talks to our final story today. Congratulations, guys. We made it. WWE employee talks to Florida officials. They're being forced to work TV tapings. WWE responds. Filed by John Alba for Spectrum News 13 in Orlando. Quote says, my employer, World Wrestling Entertainment, aka WWE, is forcing me to work the TV tapings for its weekly shows despite stay-at-home orders for the coronavirus. I'm unable to speak out as I need this job, and I know I'll be fired if I approach my higher-ups. Despite precautions, we cannot maintain social distancing and have to touch other people. I request the government to shut down these tapings and enforce the stay-at-home order so my colleagues and I may follow social distancing rules without fear or repercussion of losing our jobs. WWE issued the following statement in response. These accusations aren't true. Employees know they can confidentially go to human resources, not the public. Notwithstanding the appropriate protocol, no one would be fired if they were uncomfortable with their surroundings. We've made accommodations for individuals upon request. John,
they were all the list that got released.
Yeah.
They all made requests.
Accommodations. Dude, why would W even have to sell for that? Because it just shows that, oh yeah, you could go to HR. That would never leak out and come back to fucking burn you. Never. That we're corporate, 101. We don't play that kind of stuff. There's bullshit, dude. As soon as someone will watch you walk into the office, up it goes. Doesn't matter what the fuck you say. And we talked about this at Mania because they were like not wanting any stooge reports to get out and things like that. Then we see the Money in the Bank on the roof picture. We have people leaving to go stooge to lawyers to file complaints. Like, the ship is sinking. The rats are going to rat, man. It's a pretty serious time in the last week for Vince of what's happening, what could come crashing down because of the $18.5 million he spent in a super PAC to be declared an essential business. Man Beast, get him.
I mean, it's I don't blame the WWE for that PR move, but yeah, it's ridiculous. It's all they're saying basically is they're not going to directly fire you. They're just going to wait a while to where it's not overly obvious for public relations, and then they'll fire you.
Yeah, thank you.
It's ridiculous.
In the PR, maybe they will give Spud a shot back, but will there be other? Will this start a trend of stooging on WWE to lawyers because people on the inside may be getting a real belly blushed, raw belly look at how they can pick away at the machine now and get their little piece where they're weak, Stevie. And who knows if this is going to start a trend of employees coming to get theirs after being silent for so long.
We talked about it before, especially now that there's people reporting stuff to the local government. Now's the time to form a union. WrestleMania would have been the time right before that. What we thought was right after the Saudi thing, like, hey, we're not doing this anymore.
Yeah.
But right before WrestleMania in an empty arena with nothing to lose, really, except for the fact, WWE, why didn't you put on WrestleMania? Well, now it's Nash. You can have a rep come in, you can have a lawyer come in and say this group of people is going to unionize, much like with Jesse Ventura before WrestleMania 3 wanted to do it.
Let's just forward it because we talked about this on Russo brand and I dropped OVW. We talked about David Starr and how we don't think he's the right guy. His heart might be in the right place, but his mouth and his Twitter thumbs surely aren't to be the one to represent. And I think it needs to come out of a place, Beast. I put this forward of like OVW that's established, that deals with a commission that's very strict already in the gut, Tim Gutterman in the Kentucky Wrestling Boxing Association, and has been used to this and has the credibility as a developmental to do it. And now you've got a guy named Dr. Nick Beckham who no one's going to go against. Oh, he's a worker. Yeah, he's got a fucking doctorate. What do you got? Like, there's the credibility there. While David Starr gets pissed off about whatever anti-Semitism that he can fucking pick out of somebody's conversation. That's not the guy you want leading the charge. And he doesn't have an organization behind him already. He may have made steps in Europe to contact the actors unions and maybe gotten a little of that going. Great, good for him. But the boys aren't going to line up behind him anymore, I don't think. He's exposed himself. I think OVW could be the place to really start getting this going, because there you can get a Stu Bennett, you can get a Damian Sandow, you can get a Mark Henry, you can get all Al Snow and all the boys to be the first ones to sign up. And then what happens when John Cena does Danny a solid and fucking signs up on even though Danny's out of it, you know what I mean? But like does it for his lineage, and the ball starts rolling and there's no way that McMahon can stop it after that. I think that's where it really needs to be cradled and fostered to hatch into something of this movement that Stevie's talking about. What do you think, Beast?
Yeah, so a big reason Al wanted to get OVW accredited as an institution was for that reason, so we could have more, be more legit in the world of wrestling and have more of a voice. And part of that plan, to peel back a little bit, over the next couple of years. Now, granted, that's something that really should be sped up now. But we were looking at possibly creating a professional organization for wrestlers, which would include things like benefits for wrestlers, whether it be percentage off on travel and hotels and whatnot. Basically, a way that they can save money and be part of an organization to where they can also get be hooked up with seminars and shows and whatnot. But part of that too, by coming together, is when you have a body of people you could put some effort behind, similar to how as a physical therapist we have the Kentucky Physical Therapy Association, we have the American Physical Therapy Association, and their role is to go into different states and with our lobbyists to be able to fight for us and our rights. And so I think at least coming up with some kind of professional organization, on a national or even an international level would be a great way to it wouldn't be necessarily be unionizing, but it'd still be coming together professionally. So that way there is power and movement. The more people that are part of that professional organization or movement, especially those bigger names like the ones that you mentioned, it is going to have more power and legitimacy behind it. And there's, at that point, more of a chance of fighting and be able to stand up for the rights of the wrestlers and helping to protect them.
I agree, especially if you got a guy like, and Stevie put this out there, Ryback would be a phenomenal, aggressive proponent for this, I feel. And no one's going to tell him to sit down and shut the fuck up, that's for sure. So, Stevie, go ahead.
Well, here's the thing with that, too. I was watching one of Ryback's videos talking about stuff like this. This is the most egregious thing. I don't have a solution for it because we want to talk about subjective and fake right here. That can turn into some real consequences if you're not politically aligned, if you're not one of their favorites, if you're not one of the new toys. And I've been in those spots just like Ryback, and anybody who's been there has been in that spot. Anybody who's been in pro wrestling has experienced the favor system and stuff like that really financially benefits. Like there is a conversion to that, and there is also hurts you if you just want to go and, like you talked about earlier, the handshake through the chair. If you just want to go do your business and do your job, you're almost persecuted for it sometimes because you don't want to play the game. When Ryback said, and this hit me really, really hard because I lost a fake match that was booked ahead of time to feature whoever, my money legitimately goes down. I legitimately lose bookings not because of lack of talent, not because I'm being punished because of wellness violation, nothing I've done. As a matter of fact, look, I was one of those guys they looked at and said, why aren't they pushing this guy, right? There's big indictment on that a lot of times. Mm-hmm. But financially, it cost me so much just because, Tony Garea, famous line, like, hey, I'd like to do this idea and that. I haven't won a match in months. No, you haven't booked me to win a match in months. Do you see the?
You just need to start. No, you just need to. You missed the whole point. He was just telling you to start pinning people. Like, fuck what's on the sheet. If you want to get over here, you got to pin people.
But that's where the fake push is. That's why guys get egos in wrestling where they really shouldn't, because the fake push makes you really think that you're really winning match. Like, if it were real, Ken Shamrock, Kurt Angle, Haku, and then everybody else is just bodies laying around them. That's right. And I'm talking about today, Haku could still.
Dude, Shamrock looked like a killer on Impact, dude. Like, so little body fat, and like, here's Sammy like going, I'm the most dangerous. I'm like, oh, folk, I love you, Sammy, but if he could do whatever he wanted to,
might want to rethink that.
He could do whatever he wanted to right now.
But getting back to that, like this is the point where it's always going to come to an impasse with a union, with an association, with any kind of unity in pro wrestling, because the system is as silly as it was sometimes for some people to think Ryback saying there should be equal pay. There's really not a more viable solution to make it an even playing field. According to experience, according to your time in the company, seniority. But all that stuff's thrown out the window because, hey, you're with the company 33 years, so we're going to release you even though you're doing 6 jobs, Chioda. This is a serious hole in moving forward with it.
Maybe I don't understand Twitch as much, but I got a notification that Austin Creed is rating with a party of 104. So I don't know if he's in our chat room or if that's just something.
No, he's just, if you follow him, I think he's rating. Yeah. Is he in the carpool?
It says Austin Creed, Stevie in there. So I don't in our chat.
Oh, so he's Cody. I think is he hosting it? Yeah, we got 151 people.
Wow.
You might want to get out of there, Xavier, because I'm talking about a wrestling union. So you might want to cut off the hosting the thing. Hey, this fucking guy, excuse me, this guy lives in the same town as me. We both play video games, and he's done nothing but kayfabe me. I was nice to you in TNA when nobody else was.
Well, I would let that, I know you couldn't.
Is that a good trip? Is that good?
That was good. Well,
174 people.
You got to put him over, though, because, you had your own personal issues of loss, and you weren't able to make that gaming convention in Boston, and he stepped up and played the Retromania game. The Stevie Richards BWO edition was putting it over, man. So definitely did good business.
I do appreciate that. And he's one of the good guys.
Yeah,
he really is.
Absolutely.
Him and Kofi, definitely. two of the good guys.
Were you super jealous when he cut that promo on SmackDown? You saw his whole video game wall behind him, all the Sega games he has laid out there meticulously, like you have your home gym plates.
There's a lot of heat in this episode between him and Asuka and all this other shit. Yeah,
man. Well, we appreciate you, Creed, man, joining us as we wrap things up, talking unionization, talking empty arena wrestling all the way around this week. Boys bumping hard in those rings with no crowd. You feel every one of them. So taking nothing away from them, especially we'll talk AEW. I'll be back here in a little while with Chris Silvio and MSG to talk all about that. Darby Allin and the Spanish God going in on each other this week, man, kicking the crap out of each other in that match. So I'm anxious to cover that stuff. You guys, it's ProWrestlingTees.com/Ben Hamin/Stevie Richards/Greek God Papadon. I don't think Xavier Woods has got a Pro Wrestling Tees story up there, not, but he's doing all right on merch.
He was in the room for real, and
Yeah.
I'm not on Twitter, so he can't DM me. So I don't know how Instagram would be the place to go.
He says, let's do something, have a good stream, but let's connect, man. So I'm sure he's ready to get in that ass on Call of Duty as soon as possible or whatever.
Well, I look forward to seeing him on that list of people that can definitely go to the office with some COVID-19 concerns.
Yeah. Very cool of him to do that and jump here on our stream at twitch.tv/Conspiracy Horsemen. We're going to keep it here on lockdown until it's a new day for us all to get back in the ring and start making some money once again and making the fans happy. Man Beast, what do you got going on this week, brother?
Well, I finally yesterday got my technology figured out. So I finally have a Twitch channel, twitch.tv/Ted the Man Beast. Hold on for content because I don't know. I got to figure out the next steps from here. But I'm planning on just interviewing some more of my OVW brethren, current and former, talking about things that are going on with them now, as well as a little bit of history too. So be on the lookout for that. Of course, also on Instagram, Twitter, Ted the Man Beast. And let me know if there's any particular content you would like to see. If you want me to talk about anything medical or injury wise, I can do that. I'm a liquor enthusiast. Not that I'm promoting consumption, but if you're one that imbibes, then certainly we can talk about that as well. But
he's got a hell of a whiskey collection, a hell of a bourbon collection down there in Kentucky. I'm always fascinated to get to look at it when I visit, man.
It's a lot of fun.
Stevie, it's on now. You better draft Brady and Gronk to the Bucks and get your Madden game up, because this guy's probably getting his thumbs warm after that shit talk, ready to say, let's do this. What do you got for him?
No, I'm absolutely fine with that. I'm good. I mean, Madden in the bank. It was in there in the beginning, which was a great story in itself, trying to defend the Extreme Rising World title in a game of Madden against Danny Doring. That's history-making stuff. The promoter was not very happy about it. That belt was made in Afghanistan, maybe by someone Ben.
Possibly.
Yeah. So Stevie Richards Fitness, hopefully his stream, the people are staying here to hear my plugs. Stevie Richards Fitness, the Resistance Man Training. See, I'm messing up the plug.
It's all good, man.
Nervous. There's over 100 people in here. Stevie Richards Fitness, the Resistance Band training programs and videos are available, and they're personally supported by me. You can always email me directly, StevieRichardsFitness@gmail.com. And now it's been endorsed by a physical therapist that's on the show. So thank you for that. And also ForceUSA.com. The code is Stevie5, Stevie the number 5. Tonight, or maybe as early as this afternoon, because I'm really excited to put the video up. New deadlift PR for me in quite some years, almost 309 pounds, got it on the review video. So pretty proud of that. I mean, I love all aspects of fitness and testing myself. And that was really cool for almost 49 years old to be able to kind of do that. You might poo-poo the numbers. There's guys that are stronger than me, but there's also guys that haven't broken their neck as many times as me either, excluding Ciampa. That's a strong.
Yeah. And at the end of the day, it's all about beating yourself and improving yourself. And just to echo what I said earlier, as a doctor of physical therapy.
That's a meme right there, that part of that.
And as a healthcare professional, doctor of physical therapy, I'd say I'm a big advocate of the stuff Stevie's doing. So definitely check it out. If whether you're in the middle of your fitness journey or just beginning, there's some good stuff out there. So be sure to check it out.
I'm sorry. I was just putting it in during your heartfelt plug. I was doing a childish joke in the beginning.
Oh, that's okay. I'm all about childish jokes too.
Every day's all about beating yourself.
Yeah.
Well, we're in the middle of a global pandemic, so what are you going to do, right?
You're going to go to thebroasters.com and get the best coffee. Our sponsors, Russo official limited edition, and we're going to go for a 5-pound bag on that. Go to thewaronmorons.podbean.com. They're our sponsors too. But if you're here, thanks to Xavier Woods, give us a subscribe, twitch.tv/conspiracy horseman and hackerhamin.podbean.com. We have veteran opinions on wrestling, movies, Star Wars, conspiracy theory, all free at hackerhamin.podbean.com. If you're a podcast enthusiast, we appreciate that crossover, and anybody who might be sticking around from going up, up, down, down with us. Yeah, here, go ahead, buddy.
Forgot to plug the YouTube channel. I'm really
go for it.
Because he has a YouTube channel, so search Stevie Richards. We're about to hit 58,000 subscribers. So Xavier Woods, I have some gaming stuff on there, including the perfect game that I pitched with MLB 2K11 that I got screwed out of $1 million. So you can check that out. Sorry, I know I'm cutting everybody off.
That's all right. Cut it off. Get your heat, because the locker room rocks here on Fridays at hackerhamin.podbean.com, infidels. YOLO! Put those pancakes down.